Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. I'll give you a quick, somewhat quick introduction into our upcoming Webex call or Webex provisioning feature. Right now, this is a very early, very early access build. Actually, I got it today around 10 o'clock this morning. I've been playing around with it. So this is not the final release, but this is the initial release is slated for version 25.12, which should be out sometime towards the end of the year. So with this provisioning kind of tool, the initial release is going to be more geared toward bulk provisioning. So the idea here and the design behind this is to make this look like our call analytics reporting kind of layouts, where instead of having reports and then where you create search criteria to then filter those reports, we have what are called jobs, and those jobs have tasks, and each task is a different CSV file that'll be used to then bulk provision or bulk import the different features into Control Hub. And so this initial release is just going to get the initial code, the initial design through QA and into the software. It won't be very, it won't have a lot of different features and bells and whistles. It's really just to kind of get it out there. And then the plan is to, work with our partners, work with our customers to learn about their pain points, which we already have been doing, to learn about their pain points and discuss their pain points and see, how the provisioning tool can then be modified and how we can add support for other tasks or other API endpoints to help our customers and partners and anyone who needs provisioning. So kind of a quick demonstration here. You'll notice this is the bulk provisioning right now. You can see it's still under CUCM, but this is for Webex Calling. And we have, off the bat, we'll have two different sections. So it'll be the jobs and the history. History is just kind of here, showing you tasks that's not available yet. And then when you have in the jobs menu, you can search for different jobs, which are kind of the reports, filter by the user, yourself or other users, filter by status, and so forth on the top. When creating a new job, so we figured most of our jobs, when our users are running jobs, it's going to be based on like a one-time use. You wouldn't be running the same provisioning or the same, importing the same CSV file over and over and over again. It'll be different files. So each job is kind of like a one and done. Once it runs, it's going to be archived or hidden away where you can always go back and review it. There'll be history and logging and whatnot associated with it. So when building a job, we'll have the settings, basic settings. So we'll just call it webinar job. I already did that one. We'll just call it job 2. You give it a name, and then we have tasks. So the tasks are kind of based on our search criteria. Starting off, day one, we want to be able to create locations and create virtual lines. These are two of the original pain points. When we first started looking into provisioning, these were the first 2 pain points that we kind of heard of or discussed was, everything in Control Hub revolves around locations. So we need to be able to create locations and then also create virtual lines. And so these 2 tasks can already be done in Control Hub. The plan would be then to expand what creating a location entails, to include, all those little checkboxes and radio buttons and different settings that aren't included as part of the initial Control Hub bulk import utility, where we can come in and then have, additional columns or additional tasks that can do more than just, create the location as you can do it through Control Hub. So the way it'll work, you add your task, create locations, add the criteria, and then you browse, select your CSV file, which I have a couple here. When you upload the CSV file, the application will check to make sure that the file is valid. So it's going to look to make sure there's a header, to make sure there's the same number of columns. And then as it gets closer, we'll do some more with, checking the file to make sure that it is truly, it's not going to blow up, and that, when it runs, it's going to actually, do what we want it to do. There will be a schedule available, so it'll be a one-time schedule. You can pick your date and time. The idea behind it is, if you want to run it after hours, maybe you want to configure your job, configure a bunch of different jobs, and then have them run after hours when they complete. So once you have the schedule done, when it completes, it can also output a log. So right now, this shows PDF, CSV, different formats. I think when it's actually released, we're just going to kind of put the logs into an Excel file. So we'll probably drop support for PDF, CSV, and HTML, unless people really need something other than Excel. So yeah, we can email the results. So you can get an email. You don't have to monitor it and watch it. It'll kick out an email or deliver a file through Webex chat and say, this is done. Here's the success and here's the failure. And then we can pick who we're sending it to, generate the email name and the file name, and then move on from there. I'll go ahead and turn this off for now. So we'll create it and then we'll save it. And then I got to refresh. Like I said, it's an early build. Okay, go ahead and run it. Let's go ahead and run it. Actually, let me log into Control Hub real quick. So right now we have 4 locations in our sandbox set up. We'll go ahead, go webinar, and then run it. It'll pop up a little box that says, "Do you want to run the safe configuration?" This is what it's doing. Go ahead and run it. Now, when in the official release, this will update in real time and show you what the status is of the job. And then when the job is done, it'll show you completed. And then we go back and refresh. Now you can see we've got our 2 test locations already have been imported through the provisioning through the job that just ran. So test location and then test location 2. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. You can edit, you can copy, search, download vlogs. When we get closer to the release date, we'll have a history, like a table here that looks something like our jobs here, where you can go back and every time the job runs, it's going to create its own history. So you can, if you run the same job 5 different times for whatever reason, there'll be 5 different entries for that job in the history table that where you can go back and review, what was successful, what failed, and then, take the appropriate action. And so this is kind of what we're rolling into the initial release in 25.12. Moving forward from there, we do want to look into adding an ad hoc or on demand, provisioning feature where we can just add, where we can have users come in and do like one-time things. Where we keep hearing a lot about virtual line pins need to be reset, or the voicemail box for the pins for virtual lines is kind of a pain in the butt to do through Control Hub. So stuff like that. On the bulk phishing side, looking more towards adding support for different checkboxes, toggles, radio buttons, those little things that, once the initial location or virtual line, or think auto attendant or call queue or hunt group, those different things where, yeah, you can add them through Control Hub, but then you have to go back and then click through a bunch of different menus to check boxes or change settings. Those are the kind of things that we want to hear about. What are those pain points? What are you running into where, it's just a pain to provision or to enable or turn on and that kind of stuff. So over the next couple of months to more than that, we'll look at expanding the offering and, adding more tasks and stuff like that. So I'll pause here and kind of as a high level review. Are there any questions or any questions?
Yeah, just one so far in the chat. You got Jeremy asking if this is going to be an add-on or if this will be included.
So I think for starters, I don't know how we're going to handle it is from day one, because it's but down the road it will be a separate licensed feature that I'm assuming will be a separate kind of like a purchase or separate item moving forward.
Yeah, and then kind of to that point, you mentioned this will be available in our December release. We're talking specifically for early access or a full GA, or?
I mean, so it'll be more. It'll be kind of a GA, but also kind of an early access. So there won't be a lot available in December for when it's released. But the idea is to get it into the software to build a foundation where we can have jobs, and then moving forward, as we get the feedback or as we add on, different tasks or different support for different features, it'll be more of like hopefully a quick copy and paste. So like if a customer or a partner wants or is looking for provisioning auto attendance, and they want different features in different fields, outside of what you can do currently in Control Hub, we could then hopefully quickly copy and paste, not copy and paste, but turn around and add support for a new API endpoint, and then get it out to the kind of like an EA system. We can kind of update it really quickly and have our users, the ones that need it, test it out and see if it works in their environment.
Okay, so it sounds like this will be available to trial on production come December, and then we'll kind of add on from there. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So anybody who's wanting to kind of test this out, obviously we can get you set up with a trial come December. We've got one more question here from Angel. Where does the CSV come from, and what data does it provide?
The CSV so the base template of the CSV will be downloadable through our software, the same way we do with like our DID imports, where we can provide like a template, and then it's up to the users to fill in the template with what they're looking to import. So if they're looking for like if we're importing locations or importing virtual lines, the users would then fill out those CSV files and then upload them to the job when it's being created.
Sweet. We got a thumbs up from Angel too. So sounds like it answers this question. Great. Yeah, we don't have any others in the chat here, so we'll go ahead and kind of move on to next steps. Anybody else, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@variphy.com.